I'm South Carolina porch gardener. Every day, millions of plants, just like this one, have been abused, threatened, endangered, overwatered, underwatered, and abused and beaten. For just $1 a day, you can go to your local nursery and save poor, neglected plants just like this. Hey guys, South Carolina porch gardener here. Today we're going to talk about root rot. We're going to show you how to identify it, what causes it, and how to fix it. So stay tuned. So I was browsing around my local Tractor Supply and I came across this aloe vera plant. Looked really pink, which is not normal for them. They should be green. And they're normally $10 and they were marked down all the way to $1. And I was like, hey, that's a pretty nice pot. Even if the plant dies, I'll get a pot. So this plant is not looking healthy, and we're going to show you how to identify root rot, because I guarantee this is what this is. So there's a little bitty black pot inside of here. I'm going to pull this guy out. So first thing you can notice about this, there are no drainage holes whatsoever. And this little pot was sitting inside of there. This has drainage holes, but that's not going to help if there's none there. This thing was completely filled up full of water when I got it. You know, it's a doll. So I pull this out. It's still waterlogged, but you can see some of these roots look okay, and some of them are very dark. Very dark, and it can smell bad as well sometimes. So what you need to do to pretty much fix this is feel around. These roots are pretty much falling apart. I'm barely touching them and they're breaking. See those right there? They're just completely falling right apart. They are not helping this this plant absorb any of the nutrients. So the roots are rotted, so the plant can't absorb the nutrients that it needs to keep going. There's only a few roots in here that are left good, like these white ones. These are what healthy roots should look like. Your root should not look like that. So, because those aren't helping anything. So what you need to do, pretty much, is break this whole root ball apart and trim off most of these dead roots. So that's what I'm going to do. My water hose here, and what I'm going to do is spray this root ball out until everything breaks apart, at least the old bad roots. And I like using water because it's not strong enough to break the healthy roots, but it will rip out all the bad ones. And it will definitely separate all this dirt. Sounds kind of counterintuitive, but, you know, yes, I'm spraying all these roots down with a bunch of water, trying to bust them up as much as I can. I'm going to expose the bottom of this plant. Get all the dirt rinsed off of here. Flip it over. Of course, this is going to involve repotting this plant. And with cases this bad, it may live and it may not. But we're going to do our best to try to save this little guy. If you remember, plants need heroes too. Okay. Now we got most of those loosened up. And you can see this stuff is just breaking off. All these roots are just breaking off right now. They're not doing the plant any good at all. So we're just gonna try to pull off a little bit. We want to leave those healthy roots as much as we can. There's a healthy root right there, and here's some right here. This one's thin, broken off, so they're not gonna help. That's a really healthy root right there. Anything a little lighter color that doesn't look like pond moss. There we go. This guy. There's some rotten root on my arm now. Okay. Alright, so this is what we're left with right now. So what we're looking at here is the damaged roots. You can see some of these are pretty much a darker color, and those are pretty much translucent. And those are your rotten roots. And they just fall off as soon as you touch them. So you need to go through, find any of those translucent roots that you can. I've gotten most of these off of here. But go through. See that stuff right there? That is not helping this plant at all. It was a root at one point, but not anymore. So, and then what you're left with is these white, really thick roots, and those are the ones you want. And even this, you can see the very tips of them there, starting to look bad. So, just going to pinch that off, and that will give way to new growth. So I'm going to pinch some of these tips of these roots off here, because they shouldn't be dark like that. And this is going to allow this plant to actually absorb the nutrients that it needs, because that's what root rot does. It just stops the roots from absorbing the nutrients up into the plant. So you'll have them, they look like a nutrient deficiency, but leaves will start changing colors and stuff like that, and that's exactly what this did. This aloe vera started to turn like pinkish and shriveled up there, but this is super soft. And it should be actually kind of firm. This one right here, this is a decently healthy one. It's real firm down here. This is like jelly almost. So that's what we're gonna do. We got most of the roots here uncovered. Just pick off any of the bad stuff that you see. And then we're going to repot this guy. And we are actually not going to water him for a little bit, so I'll show you that. And I'm up potting this while I'm at it. But I filled this up pretty much with just organic potting soil. I'm going to sit him right there, and then I'm going to fill up around him. This is just regular potting soil, organic potting soil from my local nursery or place of business where you can buy potting soil. But this is already plenty wet enough, and this thing actually needs to dry out for a little while. So, and this especially, this is an aloe vera plant, and it's a species of succulent, I believe. And succulents hold most of their water in their leaves, just like cactuses. So, I guess cactuses are considered succulents. I'm not 100%. Someone correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But, yeah, so they hold most of their water that they actually need in their leaves. And that's why these things make great houseplants. It's because they don't need a ton of water. And that's the mistake that a lot of people get when they start growing succulents. They think they need to be watered like normal plants. And they just don't. Because their roots aren't that huge. And they're not used to having a whole bunch of water, especially out in the desert, you know? They don't get water like that. And that's why they've adapted to fill up their leaves with the water that they need. So this mostly packed down here, and I want to clean off the dirt around the bottom leaves here. There we go. Now this is actually still really moist because it's fresh out of the bag. But I'm just going to leave this thing sit for quite a while out here in the sunlight to let it dry out and let that potting soil kind of dry out. And these things can completely go, this pot can 100% dry before you have to water it again. This soil can be you know, completely dry before you water it again. And you're not going to have a root rot problem unless you have a pot like this with no holes in it. Most of the time. I will say most of the time. So just keep that in mind. If you're getting a problem, it might be root rot, it might not. This was definitely root rot. So it's rare, but it does happen, especially in potted plants that cannot drain. So make sure that your pots have holes in the bottom, and that will save your plants. Now that this guy is back in his home for now, in a bigger pot, I up-potted him as well, but he's going to sit out here in the sun on the porch to dry out a little bit. And so now that he's in his home, hopefully he'll start looking better, and I'll give you an update. But please like and subscribe for more content like this that will help you save your plants. Thank you.